That's an understatement. I think it's been violated. I frankly think that NATO in general, the three Western powers leading this operation, have taken matters into their own hands. They violated international law, and that's a matter that should be investigated. But then, of course, we know, just because they are the Western powers, nothing is likely to come of this. They were given a very specific mandate to go and impose a no-fly zone. They have turned it on their own into a mission to remove, admittedly, a dictator, but that's not been the mandate that they were given.
But they were there to, as you say, enforce a no-fly zone, but also, crucially, to protect civilians. And you couldn't do that, it would be argued, without the military operation that has taken place.
Well, I mean, I think we should be careful of sort of all the propaganda that's doing the rounds. We know what NATO is arguing, of course, that he never stopped the fighting. But what evidence is there that they stopped the fighting? It's absolutely clear, with all the evidence coming out, that 10 days or so even after the passing of Resolution 1973, a post-Gaddafi envoy for Libya was already put in place in the United Nations. While the bombing is going on, they wrote a constitution for that country. What if Gaddafi could have found it within him to actually stop the bombing? Were they interested in stopping the bombing? Please let me make one thing absolutely clear from my point of view. President Gaddafi was not just a dictator, he was a tyrant. But if you get a specific mandate, then stick to that mandate. International society needs it. It needs states to live by rules. And that, by the way, includes Barack Obama's America, David Cameron's Britain, and certainly Sarkozy's France, who's really been exciting about how they've handled the situation.
I want to ask you as well about South Africa's position more broadly, because there you are in Johannesburg, and obviously the position of South Africa has been interesting in recent days. The UN Sanctions Committee, of course, released that $500 million of frozen Libyan assets on Wednesday night, last night, following a request by the United States. Now, they wanted to release more, and South Africa said no. Now, what's going on here?
Well, I'll tell you what I think is going on. Let me first explain my understanding of South Africa's decision. And I'm actually glad, frankly, that clarity is emerging on South Africa's position. I would be the first to say to you that South Africa faces the challenge of having to reconcile this position, which clearly is a very important principled position, with earlier prevarications and the like. But let's leave that aside for a moment. So what South Africa is effectively asked to do is to simply, again, go along with what NATO asks it to do, what these three countries ask it to do. So effectively what we are told is the bombarding will go on. So in other words, they will continue the destruction, and they will continue to bomb those very hospitals that they now claim need the resources, and South Africa must still stand idly by.
But this money would have helped. This money would have been for humanitarian assistance, we were told by the Americans.
You know, sir, if they really wanted to get rid of President Gaddafi, I just ask you a simple question. Why didn't they kill him 5 months ago? Why do you subject a country to such ruthless bombing for 5 months? Literally destroy its infrastructure, and then you claim it's for peace and freedom. I tell you what my perspective is. It's precisely because they want to make the country permanently dependent on them, and we know that the contractors are standing idly by. You know, even if South Africa is the only country taking a principled stand, and I know for a fact that South Africa is about to be isolated and certainly defeated in the Security Council tonight, but just because it's the lone voice doesn't make it the wrong voice.